Fayetteville police asking for your help after an 18-year-old was shot and killed at a house party. This is a picture of the victim, Harrison Anderson. Police say a fight broke out at a home on Graystone Road early Sunday morning. Shots were fired, and that's when Anderson was killed. If you recognize him or know anything about what happened at that party, you are asked to contact police.
The night was supposed to be full of fun and excitement. A house party, friends gathering, music, and laughter. But what should have been an unforgettable night turned into a tragedy. Harryson Anderson, an 18-year-old from Spring Lake, North Carolina, was gunned down at a house party in Fayetteville. What led to this senseless act of violence? Was it just a momentary outburst, or something more sinister behind it? Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're into true crime stories like this one, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated with our latest investigations. Let's dive right into this chilling case. It was the early hours of March 14th, 2026, when the shooting occurred. A house party was in full swing at a home on Graystone Road in Fayetteville. People were laughing, dancing, and enjoying themselves, unaware of the tragic events that were about to unfold. Then, suddenly, an altercation broke out. What started as a heated argument quickly escalated. In the blink of an eye, gunshots rang out. One of those shots struck Harryson Anderson. But here's the question. What sparked this altercation? Was it something personal, or was it just a random act of violence? The details surrounding the cause of the argument remain unclear. Police have not revealed whether Harryson knew the shooter or if the shooting was even targeted. Could it have been a random dispute between strangers? Or was this something that had been building up over time? The answers are still unclear, and the investigation is still ongoing. What we do know is that the shooting was not part of a larger crime spree in Fayetteville. Police have stated that this appears to be an isolated incident, but that doesn't explain how a simple party turned deadly. It raises even more questions. Could this have been prevented? Could someone have stepped in before the situation escalated? Was there any warning sign that Harrison's life was in danger? The answers we're looking for are still out there. Harryson was immediately rushed to a nearby hospital, but despite the efforts of doctors, he was pronounced dead just hours later. The 18-year-old didn't stand a chance. But let's take a moment and think. How could something like this happen? What was going on in the minds of the people who were there that night? Why didn't anyone try to stop the violence before it got out of hand? As the investigation continues, we know that police are seeking help from the community. They want to know if anyone was at the party, or if anyone has any video footage or information about what happened. But why hasn't anyone come forward yet? Could it be fear? Or is there something more at play here? One thing's for sure, someone knows something, and the truth will eventually come to light. There's still so much we don't know about the events that unfolded that night. But what we do know is that a young man lost his life in the blink of an eye. Harryson Anderson, just 18 years old, was taken too soon. It's not just his family who's grieving, but an entire community that's now left with unanswered questions. How do you come to terms with something so senseless? So tragic. The police investigation is still underway. But what will the community's role be in solving this case? How far is everyone willing to go to help bring justice for Harryson? Will someone finally come forward with the answers? Only time will tell. The question remains, how did things get so out of hand? Could the people at that party have done something to prevent the situation from escalating? You have to wonder, was there an underlying tension in the room that we don't yet understand? The people who were there, what did they see? What did they hear? These are the kinds of questions that could change everything, and yet so many details remain locked away in the dark. Imagine being there, surrounded by people you know, music blaring, and then suddenly a disagreement turns violent. Was it just a heated argument, or did it involve something deeper? Personal animosities, jealousy, or resentment? The shooter's identity is still unknown, and there's no confirmation on whether the incident was random or personal. Did the shooter have a specific target, or was it just chaos breaking out without warning? One thing that's certain is the silence. The silence in the aftermath of the shooting speaks volumes. Why hasn't anyone come forward with critical information yet? Was it fear of retaliation, or was there something that made people hesitant to speak? Everyone there that night has a piece of the puzzle, but it seems that no one wants to come forward. Why is that? Could it be that they're protecting someone? Or is it possible that they're afraid of being implicated? Police have made a public plea, urging anyone who attend the party to come forward. They've asked for photos, videos, or even simple statements about what happened, but no one has stepped up. What's going on here? Could it be that the fear of consequences is stronger than the desire for justice? Or is there a deeper issue, something more sinister, that's keeping people quiet? This silence isn't just unsettling, it's dangerous. The longer the truth is hidden, the more difficult it becomes to piece together what actually happened that night. Could there be a cover-up? Could someone be hiding the identity of the shooter? Or, even worse, could the people involved be minimizing what happened, afraid to face the truth of their actions? The people who were there, the witnesses, they have an obligation to speak up, not just for Harry's son, but for themselves too. Because if justice isn't served, then what kind of message does that send to others who might think they can get away with something like this? If no one speaks, then how will anyone ever feel safe again? The community needs to understand the gravity of the situation. They need to realize that standing by in silence only perpetuates the problem. You might wonder, what has been the reaction from the community? How are the people of Fayetteville processing this tragedy? Sadly, there hasn't been a lot of public commentary on the matter, and that raises more questions. Where is the outrage? Where is the outcry for justice? Why hasn't there been a more visible reaction from the community, considering that a young life was taken in such a brutal manner? The lack of community response is concerning. You would expect in a case like this that there will be rallies, memorials, or even public calls for justice. But so far, we haven't seen that. Does this mean that the community feels powerless, or is it simply a reflection of the silence that has gripped those who were at the party? Whatever the reason, one thing is clear. The community needs to rally together to bring this tragedy to light. They can't afford to sit back and let this case go unsolved. And while this silence lingers, the police are hard at work, investigating every lead, interviewing witnesses, and piecing together the evidence. But without the help of the community, how long will it take to solve this? The authorities can only do so much. They need the people who were there to step forward and tell the truth. Otherwise, this will remain an unsolved case, and that's the last thing anyone wants, especially Harrison's family, who are left in the dark about what happened to their son. The clock is ticking, and every day without answers adds to the grief. For Harrison's family, time is moving too fast, and every moment without justice feels like another day in pain. But how much longer will it take? How many more months, or even years, will they have to wait for closure? The family deserves to know what happened to their son, and the people who were there have the power to make that happen. It's not just about Harry's son anymore. It's about making sure that something like this never happens again. It's about accountability, about speaking out when you know something isn't right, and about making sure that justice is served. This is a community's fight now. It's a fight for truth, for justice, and for a better future where violence like this doesn't claim any more young lives. The importance of this case isn't just about the facts. It's about the message it sends to the rest of the community. If those who witnessed the events that night continue to stay silent, what does that say about the kind of society they're living in? Silence in the face of tragedy only breeds more violence. By stepping forward, by sharing what they know, the witnesses have a chance to break the cycle. They have the chance to say, enough is enough. No more innocent lives will be taken in vain. As we wait for justice, the big question remains, how many more families will have to endure this kind of pain before the truth comes out? It's not just Harrison's family who suffers, but the entire community that has been affected by this senseless loss. His death is a reminder of just how fragile life is, and how quickly everything can change in an instant. One moment, he's at a party, enjoying time with friends. The next, his life is tragically cut short, and his family is left with nothing but memories. But here's the hard truth. The longer this case stays unsolved, the harder it will be for the family to heal. Justice is the first step towards healing. Without it, they'll never find peace. They'll never be able to close a chapter on their son's life, and the killer will walk free, potentially to hurt someone else. That's why it's so important for anyone who knows anything to come forward. The investigation may be difficult, but it's not impossible. With the right help, the truth can come to light. Someone out there knows something. Maybe it's the person who saw the shooter. Maybe it's someone who heard the argument. Maybe it's someone who even recorded video footage on their phone. Whatever the piece of the puzzle may be, It's time to stop hiding. It's time to speak up. If you're watching this and you know something, ask yourself, what would you want if it were your loved one? What would you want if it were your brother, your son, your friend, lie in the hospital, fighting for his life, only to lose that battle? Wouldn't you want to know what happened? Wouldn't you want the people responsible for taking that life to be held accountable? If you have any information, don't wait. Be the voice for Harry's son, his family, and the justice they deserve. We all have a role to play in making sure that justice is done. It's not just about one family or one life. It's about the collective responsibility we all share in ensuring that our communities are safe. When one person's life is taken, we all lose. But when we stand together, when we speak out against violence, we gain something far more powerful, a sense of security and a commitment to justice that goes beyond personal interests. It's about doing what's right, even when it's hard. So what's next for Fayetteville? What's next for the people who were at that party? Will they choose to stay silent? Or will they step forward and help bring closure to a grieving family? Will they help put an end to the violence that has taken the life of a young man, full of potential and dreams, and left his family with nothing but heartache? This isn't just Harrison's fight. It's all of ours. It's a fight for truth, for justice, and for the kind of world we want to live in. One where violence is not tolerated, where accountability matters, and where the truth always wins out in the end. So let's keep the pressure on. Let's keep asking questions. And let's make sure that this story doesn't fade into the background. Let's make sure that Harryson Anderson's death isn't forgotten. And more importantly, let's make sure that justice is served.